environmental, social, and government. ESG. You've already had a couple of pieces that have talked about ESG, talked about stakeholder capitalism, talked about the stakeholder model, and I think at this time it might be useful for us to go deeper. It is important today, no matter what field we are in and working, this is becoming more and more important every day. So I want to give some structure around it and some definitions so you know what it is. So we have environmental, social, and governance. Acronym is ESG. And as we dig deeper, there are three of these three pillars. We have environmental, social, governance. But let's just take a moment and look what goes in environmental. Climate change, carbon emissions, climate vulnerability, natural capital, water stress, biodiversity, waste, renewable energy, green building, and clean tech. So these are the things that are in the environmental. There's more, but these are some to give you a sense. Why don't we talk social? What does that mean? Human capital. How do we manage our people? How do we use our people? Health and safety, labor standards, supply chain, product safety, chemical safety, product liability, privacy, data security, controversial sourcing, nutrition and health, access to healthcare, access to finance. Then governance, board, pay, ownership, accounting, corruption, ethics, fraud, tax transparency, anti-competitive behavior. Transparency is a big piece of ESG. Is there disclosure around it? And this is evolving each and every day. So if we start with these, I would like to break it further down in saying we got climate change. These are themes: climate change, natural resources, pollution and waste, environmental. And when we further break these down, we're talking about carbon emissions, product carbon footprint, financing, environmental impact, climate change vulnerability, natural resources, water stress, biodiversity and land use, raw material sourcing, pollution and waste, toxic emissions and waste, packaging material and waste, electronic waste, environmental opportunities, clean tech, green building, renewable energy. So these are the issues that build to the themes that go to the pillars. We have human capital, product liability, stakeholder opposition, social opportunities. So we look human capital, labor management, health and safety, human capital development, supply chain labor, product liability, safety and quality, chemical safety, financial product safety, privacy, responsible investment, health and demographic risk, stakeholder opposition, controversial sourcing, social opportunities, access to communication, access to finance, access to healthcare, corporate board, corporate governance, board and pay, ownership and accounting, and then behavior. And I think it's important to note that you build a process to derive behaviors. So when we look at this, you want to think what you should know from this is here's the pillars, here's the basic themes, and here are the issues. A lot of this can also be tied back to the United Nations Sustainability Development Goals. And these are goals to transform our world. They were signed in 2015, and they vision a new future for the world. Is sustainability. Sustainability being a broad topic, again, not just one thing. And the college here at Geneseo has signed on to the coalition, the University Coalition, to support these sustainable development goals, and it fits with the value and the mission of the college here. So the first one is no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water, affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth, industrial innovation and infrastructure, reduced inequalities, sustainable cities, responsible consumption and production, climate action, life below the water, life on land, peace, justice, and then how does it partner together? And these are important because this is all under some of the things that are underpinning the sustainability movement and ESG. I have posted the link so that you can actually go, if you'd like, and read about more about these. But since we're talking about ESG, what I found is, how do you fit these together? Some of them clearly fit within the environmental, social, and governance. The one in the middle is the partnerships, okay? But a lot of them, as you can see, intersect each other, that they're related to each other. And I think this is an important slide to keep in mind as we're moving forward with this ESG. And a lot of it is we're using it in finance. Many of these, I could label them under impact on finance, organizational behavior. It's all tied together. Now, as we approach ESG, there's a couple of things to keep in mind. One is it wants to be aligned with values, okay? And you and I have our personal values. What's important to us? Corporations have values. So you try to line them up, okay? And you want to avoid businesses that have a conflict with as an investor, your values. Integration. How are you managing potential risks and seeking out opportunities? Okay. And then there's impact investing, and that's measuring the social return. And there's a lot that goes into this. So this is just an example of how we look at some of these things. Another piece that I found in here relative to disclosure and metrics, and a lot of it is about disclosure. And here's a sample. This is purely a sample. Principles of governance. What's the remuneration? What's the process for engaging? How do they use ESG in capital allocation? From the planet, are they setting science-based targets? Okay, are they looking at the impact on land use and freshwater consumption in the value chain? Air, water, and waste pollution, metrics on circularity. We're going to find that when it comes to the environmental side, there's a lot of things disclosed. As we move into people, it becomes less and less clear or measurable. Okay, there's surveys and such. And then prosperity, indirect economic. What's the impact of innovation? So this is just a sample of something that a company has done. And when you look at it, it comes back here again. It's this intersection that we're striving for. And if we do that, we're going to have long-term sustainability that'll be there. And just to, here's another one. You can look at this, and again, just samples of that. There's many, you can rank them. Companies can be ranked and rated. We've adopted a ESG approach for the Student Managed Investment Fund here at Geneseo. And the endowment here at Geneseo, which manages the endowment fund, they're being updated, and they will also follow ESG criteria. But it's, what are they doing for prevention? What's the transparency? What's the efficiency? Looking at social, breaking it into employees and cities. Where's the compensation and satisfaction? Diversity and rights, education and work conditions, social, community and charity, human rights, sustainable integration, board effectiveness, management excellence, disclosure and accountability. So these are some of the things, but let's just look at it from what's happening from an environmental perspective. And this chart came in the mail this morning, and well, it didn't come in the mail because it came electronically, of course. But here's the number of electric vehicles, 11.3. 2025, 5 times higher. That's only 4 years away. 2030, look at the growth in electric vehicles. This includes battery electric, fuel cell, plug-in hybrid cars, vans, buses, trucks. Think about this global change. The world has changed in the past year. The speed by which we are changing is growing rapidly. So what you should take away from this is, what is ESG? What are some of the topics? How do things align? Transparency, measurement, what are they doing? If you have any questions, please let me know, and we'll be referring to this as we go throughout the semester.